Hey, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Friday, January 9th. It's 1:07 in the afternoon. Temperatures out there are right around that 30-degree mark. A lot of clouds around. We're seeing a few breaks for sun, but another mild day throughout much of the area. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. And good Friday, Bridgette. End of the week. The weekend's almost here.
Well, and it sounds like tomorrow morning might not be well, I was going to say the slickest time out there, but maybe that's what I mean, because you're talking about blowing snow tomorrow morning. So for those of you who are taking the fish house out to the lake, be careful. Drive safe.
Yeah, it is going to be in some areas, especially into Lakes Country. I think those areas have the best chance of seeing about a half inch of snow. Now, that's not a lot, but when you've got 30, 35 mile an hour winds blowing that around, we might see a little bit of slick travel, especially along and east of the valley. Go out west of the valley and really not much going to fall at all. So we're looking at another clipper system coming our way as we head into tomorrow. But before that, it'll be another mild day today with highs right around 30 to 32 across much of the area as winds turn into the west, and those west winds will continue tonight. As the clipper system approaches, we'll see winds turn to the northwest towards morning. We'll drop down to about 10 above tonight with a few snow showers, and those snow showers continue through the morning hours tomorrow. And again, some blowing snow along and east of the valley tomorrow, with temps in the teens in the morning, then falling in the afternoon. And that means sub-zero wind chills all day tomorrow. So it is going to feel more like it should for the start of January. And then Sunday, a quick rebound as winds turn to the south. We'll warm up into the mid to upper 20s, and then we're in the mid to upper 30s. Can you believe it? For Monday and Tuesday of next week. After that, the party's over. We've been advertising this for a while, that mid-month onward, we're going to see progressively colder weather come into the area. And by the third week of the month, we will see Arctic air pouring back into the area with sub-zero temperatures. So enjoy the next 4 to 5 days outside of tomorrow. It looks like a pretty mild weather pattern before the other shoe drops. Now, do I see a lot of snow as we transition into that Arctic air? We'll see a few clipper systems that could bring us an inch or two here, inch or two there. That all does add up. So we will see more snow than we have over the last week and a half around here as we head into next week and the following week. So for the snow lovers, I've got a little bit of good news for you. For the cold lovers, I've got better news for you after mid-month. So like I said, enjoy the mild weather as long as it's here.
And we always know that there's kind of that warm up. Usually I plan for it sometime like in February, because we get a little bit of a warm up and then we get cold again as we go into the Ides of March. And I think, but it was almost spring. And then I really start looking forward to it. So
Right?
we'll see how this looks now. Yes. Oh, but so much to make sure that we get done in these winter months. I mean, again, that meeting season is in full swing. And we always try to run those down when you join us here for Weather and Ag in Focus at the Coral Laundromat Studio. Next week is Wide World of Weeds. It's the Soil and Water Workshop, known as the Dirt Workshop, and I think there's a couple more. The week after that, we're going to be at the Dry Bean and Sugar Beet meeting in Grand Forks. So hold on to your hat, folks. We got a lot of things up and coming. Now, I would also say that if you have items that you want me to announce when it comes to some of these events and meetings you want folks attending, like I said, when I talk about the Wide World of Weeds, the Dirt Workshop, you can send those to me, ag@flagfamily.com. That's my email address. Dean's is weather@flagfamily.com. My inbox and Dean's are powered by Superior Grain Equipment. They make sure that you have great farm future storage. Not only that, but drying and handling solutions. You can always call us with your questions at JLA Insurance Company's phone line. Our number is 701-293-9000. And don't overlook talking to Nate Thorsrud soon. March 16th is the sign-up period ending date for crop insurance. And I know that seems early, so mark your calendars and get that call to JLA Insurance. And also, if you would like to watch the antics, well, you're welcome to. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Acres TV, Lighthouse Commodities. Makes sure to show you the way by seeing what we're doing today. And especially as we have a couple of guests joining us, more weather updates as we get into the hour. headlines that are going on. There's a fair amount of things that are just happening right now, you might say.
Busy, busy.
uh, the winter months, I think, well, they're as busy, if not even more so, just because this is your chance to get out there and pick up all of that working knowledge that you're going to use throughout the season. And as farmers and ranchers, you're maybe done with your tax appointment or you're getting ready to go into it. You got to talk to the banker. If you don't have to talk to the banker because you don't have to borrow money for your line of credit or your operating, cheers and congratulations to you. That's awesome. But you might also be sitting with suppliers and discussing fertilizer if you haven't made those purchases, or you're mopping up some last few acres with seed if you had an increase or a decrease in planted acres for the coming year. Crop insurance. We just talked about that with JLA Insurance with Nate Thorsrud. Crop insurance decisions needs to be made. Equipment, right? If you still need service work done on some tractors before spring's work, or if you're having your planter overhauled, is it in the shop? Is it being worked on? What things have to be dealt with there? So there's a lot of management, and we didn't even talk about livestock. Are you selling calves? Are you buying feed? Are you hauling hay or buying and selling? There's a never-ending plethora of items that might be going on in your future as we get closer and closer to spring's work. And you've said spring might come early, Dean. Like nice time in April.
It does. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have an early spring this year. April looks pretty warm, and we'll have Gary on next month. You are gone a couple days next month, Bridgette. So one of those days I'm going to schedule to have Gary on one of those shows, and we're going to talk about what the rest of the winter and spring looks like according to the LRC.
Well, and for those dates, I mean, it doesn't hurt to just give that little bit of a preview. The sooner the better, because if you have delays in some of your input deliveries, that can impact whether or not you're in the field in a timely fashion. So we got to keep up with all of this stuff pretty quickly.
No doubt.
Over the winter months, we tend to put some of those vehicles away. Oh, sorry, just got a message from Addison. I got to take care of that with a guest. So something to think about is when we put vehicles away for the winter months, we also want to make sure that we don't, like our collector tractors, we don't want our batteries to run down. And it used to be that we worried about taking the batteries out and then setting them on the ground and allowing them to, like, they had porous cases. And because of that, we would almost find ourselves losing the battery power that was in them, right? Well, that's changed. We have way better cases now. We don't worry about taking a battery out of a collector tractor, setting it down, and the battery draining itself. But it's a really good thing to take it out of the tractor so that it doesn't discharge or it doesn't drain down the battery by running that power to the tractor. Some other things that you can do with those collectible tractors, maybe collectible vehicles that you're not driving in the winter months, etc. When you clean your battery terminals, you can coat them with petroleum jelly. I did not know that. It's a way to prevent the corrosion. I'm sure our friend John is listening, and maybe you should be doing that. Like if you have a riding lawnmower and you got a battery in it, should you be doing that with your riding lawnmower? Disconnecting your battery cables, coating them with that petroleum jelly to prevent corrosion. John will probably let us know. And when you're storing those batteries, keep them in a warm, dry place, but you can maintain the battery charge. Batteries will lose their charge due to a natural chemistry process. So you can hook the batteries up to a combination battery charger or a simple battery maintainer. And they are different than a trickle charger, which continues to energize even when the battery is not fully charged, and that can result in overcharging. So if you use the trickle charger, you must monitor it and disconnect it at the correct time. Just a little battery maintenance. I'm not perfect at this. If you find that you got to wash a battery, here's a fun fact I didn't know either. You can use a mixture of baking soda and water because that solution helps to neutralize and wash away any sulfuric acid, especially on older batteries, if you were refilling them with the sulfuric acid. So, little few mechanical tricks, that might help you out with some of the battery maintenance that you might be doing on vehicles that are in storage over the winter. More suggestions, questions, and ideas are going to be coming when we return and have our segment Market Uncovered with Gregg Hanson of Hanson Agri Commodities. We will do that right after the American Ag Network Livestock Update. Thanks for joining us here at the Coral Laundromat studio. Okay, Dean's in the studio. I'm just hanging around in normal out in the outer space world. So we we are about to launch into Market Uncovered. This is our segment with Gregg Hanson. He's with Hanson Agri Commodities. Okay, Gregg, what's your market recap for the last week? And then I got listener questions for you.
Well, China's been in the market and they've been in a lot. Monday, we were kind of hearing rumors that they were in buying about 10 or 14 boats. And if that, we did see 6 announced the next day, but if you truly bought those 10 or to 14, and then you start doing the math, they were within 2 million tons of being done of the 12 million tons. And the thought, my thought was, well, hey, do a million this week, or 10 boats now, just keep doing it over time. We'll be done in a couple weeks. The chatter is they want this done before the report, and the report's on this coming Monday. We heard rumor they were in for another 10 boats on Tuesday, another 10 boats Wednesday. I didn't hear a whole lot yesterday, but now I'm hearing today they might be buying 15 boats today. Well, you start doing the math,
wow.
They might be done. They might be done with that 12 million. Now,
that
the reason
totally
why
hits their level, right? So that's perfect to finally
number.
get them where people have been waiting for. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it depends on whose math you want to follow, but it looks like they've probably bought the 12 million tons after today that they said they would do by the end of January. So and then the math said they needed it. Now, the question is, okay, now will they do another 25 million going forward? I'm not holding my breath on that. They'll buy it if we're cheap. And if South America has, and they'll buy more if we don't have if South America has a crop problem. But if South America has a good crop, they're not buying 25 million. They'll buy 15, maybe 20. But I mean, that's what they're going to buy. They'll buy only what they need from us and not a bushel more. And that might happen later in the summer towards the fall. But hey, the first objective got done. We can ask why. Is it because they're worried about the report? Is it because what's going on with Venezuela? Venezuela supplied cheap oil to China. Are they not happy? And we're going to be back with international politics next week. Time will tell. But what matters is, it looks to me like China bought the 12 million tons today, and that's what we were hoping for.
People are going to feel a little bit of relief. That was the big topic of conversation all through the fall. All right, let's breathe that sigh of relief for the moment. Now, I have some questions from folks for you, and these actually pertain to corn at the moment. So, is there some optimism in corn prices? I've heard you say before that corn is a follower. So, what might be your thoughts?
Well, Monday's the big report day. It's probably one of the top 2 report days of the year. There's a lot of data coming at us, a lot of big information. There is always a surprise on this report. I mean, what is it? Which commodity? We don't know, but there will be a surprise. But if you look where the guesses are, I don't have too much of a problem with the guesses. We're looking for a corn yield of 184 down 2 bushels. I think 2 or 3 makes sense. With all the discrepancy in the November report, state by state, about this state's too high, this state's too low, there's going to be some arguments, but you just got to remember, whether you agree with the number or not, this will be the final number, and it's what the market's going to trade. But if that's what it shakes out at, there's a little bit of chatter about, would we maybe see the harvested acre number increase a little bit, and that would just be due to the fact that we had such good tonnage for the most part on the silage, we didn't have to cut as many acres. So maybe there was a little more corn to harvest. I don't think it's a major thing, but you could see that could offset a little bit of the yield drop. But carry out, we're looking for high 19s, low 20s. That's kind of the prices we've been trading. So that's not that big a deal. And I say beans, the carry out, a small reduction in yield, carry out up a shade. I mean, nothing. If the report comes out where the guesses are, nothing rocks the boat. We know there'll be a surprise. We just don't know what it'll be. So, I mean, if corn comes out as advertised, we're probably still in the range. Weather-wise, for Argentina, it's like July down there. So, I mean, there's some spots that we're watching, but there's nothing really too crazy as far as weather to affect the crop today. But, you never know in 2 or 3 weeks. I do think long-term, the exportable supplies, I mean, is there corn in the world? Yes. Is it in the hand of the exporters? The corn in the hand of the exporters is getting smaller and smaller every year. So I do think corn is somewhat sitting on a powder keg. And the fuse is soaking wet and it's not going to light today. But if one of the major corn exporters, U.S., Brazil, Argentina, Ukraine, South Africa, if one of them had a crop problem to where it's below trend on yield, then something can really happen where corn is the leader. But I think it has to be a weather issue. I don't see where you could trade that today. So I think for now, I mean, we'll get through the report, see where we shake out at, but we're probably chopping around. If corn yield goes down 4 bushel, yeah, we can probably break out to the upside. If corn bushels are if yields unchanged, well, then we probably got to break to the downside. But barring that, we're probably just stuck in our trading range of about what, 25 cents from high to low.
Well, interestingly enough, I heard some of the comments you just made, and that may affect how this question is for the listener. And that was, is it worth the risk to roll a corn contract right now? And I heard you say, they're kind of sitting on a powder keg. So if this was your client, would you have some advice for them that you'd want to give?
I mean, not knowing the individual and knowing how much is sold and how much is not sold.
Sure.
You don't really need to roll a contract for another 7-8 weeks. So I guess I wouldn't worry about it today. And like I say, we'll get a rebalance of fundamentals with this report. Ask me next week. It depends on what the report says.
Okay, I'm going to hold that to ask you more about that next week. So let me just circle that on my list, Gregg. Okay. First of all, WDAY report is on Monday. And as you said, there's always a surprise. So we're going to have to wait and see what that brings. Then the bridge loan rates that have been announced. This is the Farmer Bridge Program from FSA through the USDA, the U.S. Department of Ag. I talked to a lot of farmers at an event yesterday in Devils Lake. Most of them said that's likely just going to go to seed, fertilizer, their input costs. Do you see those bridge payments making any sort of an impact at a commodity level? I don't know if that's possible. Again, I can kill your weeds, but I'm terrible at trading your grain. That's why I have you.
Maybe. What everyone is trying to figure out right now in the grain industry, whether you're elevator, processor, feed mill, whatever, every exporter, everyone's trying to figure out, it's January 9th today. You're going to get that bridge payment by the end of February. Hopefully before, but by the end of February. So people have collected their deferred payment checks in the last week. So you've got some money in hand. You're going to get more money in 6-7 weeks. Is that enough to tide you over through the spring planting, to pay the seed, pay the rents, pay all those things? And that's what the grain industry is trying to figure out. I think it's maybe location by location. Some areas, I think the farmer feels comfortable and he's not in a rush to do anything. But in just the last few days, it feels like we're seeing some corn move, more so north and west corn belt. It's maybe the areas that are not historically the corn belt. So I mean, northern Minnesota, Dakotas, when you get further west where the crop was big, there's some chatter farmers are starting to move a little grain. And is that because they need cash? Is it because, well, since the weather's nice, let's just move grain? But, that's starting to affect basis. So to me, it's really, it's more, not so much a function of the board. Yeah, if the farmer sells, it affects the board price, but it's really more about the basis. If the farmer decides I got to sell grain, and I'm not just talking, a few loads of pull centers. If I'm going to move a chunk of my crop because I need cash, you're going to definitely feel that from the cash side, the basis side. You'll see that basis get worse. And that's what everyone's trying to figure out is what's this farmer going to do? If he's going to move, a couple loads and no big deal, we might see basis kind of keep creeping in, even though there is a big crop. But lately, just the last couple of days, it feels like maybe there's just enough movement that, it might affect the basis side more than it does the future side.
Okay, that helps a lot in this discussion. So, Gregg Hanson, we get to talk to you every Friday with Market Uncovered with Gregg Hanson of Hanson Agri Commodities. Don't forget to tell folks how to give you a call or reach out if they want to talk further.
Well, if you have any questions on what we do, or just a question on the marketplace, you can give us a call, 507-338-6433. You can check out our website at hanson-ag.com or check us out on Facebook, Hanson Agri Commodities.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, folks, when we return after our news break, we have an opportunity to visit with Morgan Stutrud. She is with the North Dakota Farm Business Management Program. Kind of ties into today's discussion. If you're going to be talking with Gregg about your commodities, maybe you have to talk with Morgan about doing some other balancing of your books and maybe getting a little farm management coaching. And we'll do that next. You know, as you're thinking through your preparation for spring, maybe you have to plant some seeds of change. And if you're thinking about doing something different as far as your lender's concerned, Bell Bank could be there for you. Maybe you are looking for more years of experience or someone who really draws from a wide geography, and you could do that with Bell Bank. Consider them for your next ag lender, and you can see them at bell.bank. Today, we have an expert with us to talk about farm management from a coaching perspective is maybe the way to describe it. And Morgan Stutrud joins us today. She is with the North Dakota Farm Business Management Program. So, Morgan, could I ask you to start by just describing the farm management program for those who may not be familiar with it?
Sure. So our farm management program, what we do is mostly at the end of the year, but we're around all year to help get those documents in order that you need for going in and get an operating note, getting your balance sheet updated, accurate. And then we go in a little deeper and do a financial analysis. And then we go even deeper into that and break apart each enterprise as well and show you where you're making money, where we maybe need to make some changes. And then to wrap it all up, we do a cash flow for the next year.
When you're thinking about how to approach this with your farmer clients, do you have some farm experience as well, and so do your cohorts, so that you have some hands-on experiences to share with them?
Yeah, I grew up on a farm, and then I also I married a farmer, and so I farm with my husband up here in near Rugby, North Dakota, and that's the case for most of our instructors. They are either grew up on a farming operation, ranching operation, or they are doing it now kind of as like a little side hustle with this. So yeah, we're all very ag involved.
Kind of figured you might be, especially in that region. There's a lot of diversification for you. Um, as you think about some of the things that you do for folks, first of all, we should probably let folks know, are there any fees associated with doing this? Are you taking in some new farmer clients, even later into the new year, you might say?
Yes, so we take people any time of the year. I would say right now is our busy season, and this is actually, I have gotten a lot of interest in our program in the last couple weeks. But we take people any time of the year to just get started. Doesn't matter if it's now, May, October, whenever. There is a fee. It kind of depends on the region that you are in. So our different locations are all split up through the different colleges in the state. And so it just kind of depends what the college tuition is at that college. But our average rate is about $850 for the year. And then that being said, there's also funding opportunities for you to be reimbursed for that tuition, either through the state. We have a few grants. I know some um, lending institutions will reimburse you tuition for being involved. And we've even been talking with some elevators who would also reimburse your tuition if you are involved in our program. So
I think that's great because that shows that the industry wants people to have good numbers and solid business down the road, right? Mm-hmm. This shouldn't be a hardship on your farm operation.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it seems like such a small thing just to have these numbers cemented in and 100% accurate, but it just it's everything. If your numbers aren't accurate, you don't know how you did, and you don't know how you're going to do next year. And so I think the ag industry just really wants to push that message and keep farmers being successful.
This is a program that is not unique to just North Dakota, correct? We administer this at our state school, and I don't necessarily want to say state 2-year schools because this is at some of the 4 years as well. But this program's offered across multiple states and then multiple locations within North Dakota, correct?
Yes, multiple states. I know Minnesota has a huge farm management program, and as well as does South Dakota, and then all those other southern states. Everybody has something similar to this. Sorry, I forgot the second half of your question.
That's okay. Where at in North Dakota? How
Oh,
many different
okay.
sites might you say are instructors?
Yes. So currently, I believe we have 8. We have Fargo, Carrington, Wahpeton, Devils Lake, Rugby, Botno, Minot, and we do have a program in Bismarck, but we are currently looking for a new instructor to fill that role. So we are all kind of doing what we can to cover that area right now. Hopefully, we'll have somebody in there soon. Also, yes, we just got a new location up and running in Stanley, and then we're hoping at some point, once we get this this Bismarck position filled, we can also open one in Dickinson.
That's outstanding. Okay. When you look at your client breakdown, do you have folks who have been very long-term in the program for farm business management and maybe even new generations joining the program and the farm?
Yes. So, how a lot of people come into this program is they're referred by FSA. So they go in and get a loan from FSA and they require them to take our program. That's not everybody. Some people just come in on their own or are referred by a bank. And that is a 2-year requirement. So a lot of the guys that start out very young just bought some land trying to get started. But in my program, and I know in a lot of the instructors programs, we have some really long-term guys. I have a guy who's been in this program longer than I've been alive, and he just keeps coming back. He says he's never leaving, which I appreciate. I like having him around, but yeah, it's not just for beginning farmers. We take anybody and everybody from your first year with one crop to a huge multi-enterprise situation.
Excellent. You mentioned breaking down the numbers within a farm's enterprise system. So we're talking cropping systems versus what you're doing for livestock or sheep, etc. Are you seeing some trends in those enterprises as you're meeting with clients this winter that have been insightful?
Oh, I can't say too much so far. I've only have a handful of people wrapped up, so I can't make too strong of a trend here, but a very broad, and I'm sure everybody knows, my farmer guys are having a little tougher year than my livestock guys, just with prices and how everything's gone the past couple of years. So, yeah, the farmers are having a little bit of a harder time than my livestock guys, but I'll have a better idea once I finish up all my analysis.
That's a pretty fair statement. And yeah, profitability on a beef enterprise right now certainly looks better.
Mhm.
And I did have a crop consultant friend tell me earlier this week that while going with a farmer to a retail store to talk about their weed control, input costs, etc., it was interesting to note that the farmers were talking more about ROI than they were about bushels. And maybe this is the wrong way to say it, but with the hole that we're kind of in, right, or the way you could call it, the hole that we're in, we can't necessarily out yield ourselves out of it. We've got to find ways to do it differently to cover those financial deficits. Is that a fair statement of what you're seeing?
Yeah, definitely. It can't just be a labor of love anymore. We have to really focus on our inputs and then as what we're getting for that crop. And as much as everybody loves farming and how how we live our lives, it's just that's not enough to keep an operation going anymore.
Changes are being made all the time. So, Morgan, thank you for taking the time to join us today. And if I could ask, how can people connect with the North Dakota Farm Business Management Program if they would like to be a part of it?
Absolutely. We have a website, www.ndfarmmanagement.com. Under our contact tab, you can put in your contact information and it will shoot it to me, and I will link you with the closest instructor to you. We also have a Facebook page, ND Farm Management. We're pretty responsive on that as well. Or if you want to give me a call, my phone number is 701-776-5095.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much for joining us, Morgan.
Thank you.
And we still have yet to get somebody to qualify today. So today's contestant is Naomi Hall of West Fargo. Naomi, you have 11 minutes to call us, 701-293-9000. Again, Naomi Hall of West Fargo, shoot us a call if you want to be in the contest for our Vegas getaway. We'll have more on that and a forecast, and we'll hit on a couple of ag topics when we come back. And we're still waiting on today's qualifier, Naomi Hall of West Fargo. If you know Naomi, you want to shoot her a quick text to shoot us a call, 701-293-9000. Again, that's Naomi Hall of West Fargo. You can be one of the qualifiers for our Valentine's Day in Vegas contest. If you're interested in being a qualifier for that, log on to our website, WDAYradionow.com. Click on that Valentine's Day in Vegas banner, and you can submit your name to enter. Then you have to listen during the week from 7 to 4 to see if your name is called. You'll have 11 minutes to call back and get qualified for that. And all qualifiers must be present at Kingpins on February 3rd. That's when we'll be giving away our grand prize, and that is that trip to Vegas, airfare from Fargo to Vegas, 3-night hotel stay, 2 tickets to the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere on the 14th. So a nice Valentine's Day treat for your sweetheart, and $500 spending cash. We want to give a big shout out and thanks to our sponsors, Alsager Meats, Kingpins, and Frontier Airlines for putting this all together. And what a great trip it is. I mean, if you've never been out to Vegas or if you've never been to the Sphere, this show, from what Jay was talking about, Jay and Alex went out there for the Wizard of Oz show, and they said it was just absolutely amazing. So, again, log on to our website, WDAYradionow.com, and enter for the Valentine's Day in Vegas giveaway. And again, how much time do we have left here, Addison, for Naomi to call in?
4 minutes, 40 seconds.
All right, Naomi
Come
Hall.
on, Naomi.
Come on, you can
You
do
got
it.
this.
Naomi Hall of West Fargo, 701-293-9000. You got under 5 minutes left, Naomi. She can do it. Come on.
I think she can too. Yes.
And weather-wise, I'll tell you what, we're looking at a chilly day out there today. But, I mean, for this time of the year, this is not too bad with temperatures right around the 30-degree mark. Those winds shifting to the west. Now, we're going to turn cold as we head into the overnight and into tomorrow as a clipper system moves our way. That'll give us a little bit of snow shower activity overnight tonight as we drop down to 10 above, and we're not going to move much tomorrow. We'll start out the morning in the teens and then fall off during the day. We'll have snow showers and windy conditions in the morning, so we could see a little blowing snow from the valley eastward for the first part of the day on Saturday, and sub-zero wind chills all day long. So tomorrow is going to feel like January, but then a quick rebound Sunday back into the mid to upper 20s and mid to upper 30s for Monday and Tuesday. We do see colder weather later next week, with temperatures falling off in the teens and 20s. A better chance for a clipper system bringing us snow Thursday into Friday. And then it looks like as we head towards that third week of the month, that's when we'll see the Arctic air build in with sub-zero morning lows. And if we get a big enough snowpack, if we get a 4 or 5 inch snowpack with these clipper systems, we could see some of those morning lows dipping down 10 to 20 below. Not out of the question. So we'll see how that all unfolds, but we definitely know after mid-month, we've got much, much colder weather heading our way.
Well, it'll be the usual, you might say, for January and February here in North Dakota.
We've been spoiled.
Now,
that's why it feels so nice now.
we've done all right out there. Well, I had mentioned earlier that we have all sorts of meetings coming up. One of them, again, is the Dirt Workshop, as it was always known, now being called the Soil Summit, being put on by North Dakota State University as well as the University of Minnesota. This is a conference that will be 2 days, January 14th and 15th. It'll be here in Fargo. And as attendees, you have the opportunity to do several things. There's going to be discussions about soil health. 18 different concurrent sessions are being held on cover crop management, reduced and alternative tillage practices, understanding and harnessing soil biology, soil management practices, integrating crop and livestock systems, and a lot more. There will be continuing education units available. Now, if you are a certified crop advisor, that's incredibly helpful. That helps you get some of those harder to find credits that you're going to want to be able to report back to continue in your 2-year cycle for accreditation. There's another highlight to this conference, and that certainly is the variety of session types, because some will be slide presentations, there will be panels, interactive table talks, and network time is scheduled. More and more meetings are scheduling the opportunity for networking, whether it's over a beer or whether it's just over lunch. But that connection that you can make farmer to farmer, business to business, truly matters in bringing the best ideas back to your farm, ranch, and agribusiness. The registration fee is $150 if you had gotten it back in 2025, now it's gone up to 190, but that's okay. Food's included. There'll be much more going on. So make sure to get yourself registered for the Soil Management Summit. Again, this will be held at the Delta in Fargo. It's taking place on January 14th and 15th. A lot of things going on next week as far as meetings are concerned. Then I'm probably going to give a little homework to the audience for a change. We know that the Federal Communications Commission said that they are barring imports of all new models of foreign-made drones and critical components, including the DJI and Autel drones from China, stating that they potentially are a national security risk. Now, when it comes to these drones, they're the world's largest selling drone, the DJI. I want to know what that's going to impact for your business. You know, we've got some drone spraying businesses in the neighborhood, in this geographic area. Are you switching over to a different drone system? Do you have enough parts on hand to continue what you're doing? Have you been contacted by the Federal Trade Commission or Federal Communications with any changes that you may have to make? So I'm curious how that's impacting businesses in this region. I did not know until reading this, though, that the drones are really the 80% of the nation's 1,800 plus state and local law enforcement, as well as emergency response agencies, use the DJI technology. So these problems are at an immediate risk because the U.S. built drones are available, but they have a tendency to be at a higher price point than what folks have been able to do with the DJIs from China. So if you have anything going on with drones, if you're using them in your farm operation, in your spray operation, etc., I'm simply curious. You don't have to go on air, but if you would send me a message, ag@flagfamily.com, I probably want to ask a few questions just so I know more as well about the situation. So would appreciate y'all doing that. Looking forward to a busy week next week. I think I'm gone places, I don't know, several days. So I'm just glad Dean's not forecasting storms for any of that time frame. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Unless you're at the end of the week. The end of the week might get a little bit slippery, but other than that, yeah, pretty quiet week, even on tap for next week. So for Bridgette and myself, want to thank everybody for joining us here today on Weather and Ag in Focus. Hope everybody out there has a great weekend. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.